Alright, picking back up with this Final Fantasy 1 walkthrough right here on Video Games 101 at a great point, actually. We're about to get wings. After we got the floater and the ice cave. Doesn't sound right, that sentence, but anyway. We're gonna go from Crescent Lake. Head south, use our canoe to access this river, which we haven't used yet to get to this mini desert area. Pales in comparison to the much larger desert, which is straight north or south from here. Again, the world is round. Who can think about fighting in a time like this? We're about to get a staple of the Final Fantasy series. Head into this desert, pull out your floater, and an airship will rise out of the sand and be parked right there for you. Hop in with A, and say goodbye to random encounters, at least on the overworld map, thank goodness. So now we have access to most anywhere in the world. Pretty much anywhere in the world, actually. So, first thing we want to do is stop off here and walk right where we parked at the Oasis. Make sure you have 50 grand. As we collected a ferry, we're going to use this, we're going to release this ferry in a choice location in a little bit. So there's a number of different things we could do once we have the airship at this point. Not sure why they let me land on that guy's Oasis gift shop before, but anyway. A little curious to fight the T-Rex, but also feel like it might wreck me a little bit. I don't know. Did some grinding, by the way, in the volcano with the Agamas, like I mentioned. So I'm on a more Gary-appropriate level, or Gary-approved level at this point. Everyone's level 22, well, 21 or 22. Went pretty quick, actually, just fighting one Agama after another in the volcano. It took another 20 to 30 minutes. Similar to the grinding I did earlier in the that little peninsula area. You can fight the eyeballs too. That's your prerogative. I just think their death spells. It's a bit of a wild card for me. I went with the sure thing with the lizard enemies, which pay out better than the green variety here. So this is a bit of a hike. But we're going to enter this castle here. And once we have the crown, we can head here to the Temple of Ordeal. These little columns are teleport spots. Make sure you hit the exact ones that we're hitting here. This is the most direct route. If you accidentally go through the wrong one, oh, this isn't good. Stopped, by which they mean stone. You have to use a soft to unstop them. Our only option at this point is to try to escape. I don't think I have any spells that'll work in this. Thank goodness for Blaze. Saved our first loss here. You'll have to take my word for it that I didn't die in any of the off-camera grinding. Going the closer one here. Give Blaze a chance to take the helm just for a little bit. I think that's enough. There we go. Got a pretty cool item here being guarded by this mud golem. Curious to see how much damage Blaze can do with it. Alright, never mind. Ice Brain getting it done right there. There we are, the Heal Staff. Kind of a cool item that you can pop on your White Mage, Gary in this case. During battle, you can use the Heal Staff and it'll cast. We got sorcerers here. I think these guys actually know spells in this case. But yeah, we can use that Heal Staff and then it'll cure everyone for, about 20 to 30 HP. It's not a big deal, especially at this stage in the game. It's pretty late, 20 to 30 health recovery isn't going to make that big of a dent, or filling the dent, I guess better said. But a lot of times when you don't really have anything else for your White Mage to do, it's a nice alternative. Soon to be White Wizard, actually. That's why we are here at the Temple of Ordeal, to get our makeover. Just sorry we don't have a thief to witness turn into a ninja, so we can all crowd around and, be like, oh yeah, I turned from a fighter into a knight. I went from Black Mage to White Mage. I misspoke, that's the Healing Staff location right there. We got the Zeus Gauntlet from the other one. The Zeus Gauntlet, I think if we use it, similar to the Healing Staff, healing everybody, the Zeus Gauntlet casts a level 2 lit spell. But it doesn't count against any magic or anything, and anyone who's has it equipped can use it, so that's something too. It's the equivalent of a fun little party trick at this stage in the game when, everyone has much more powerful spells and our fighters, our black belts, much more powerful attacks, so. Get a house and some cash from these right here. That one got cleaned out apparently before we got here. Here's the actual item that we need in order to get the character type upgrades. Gotta fight some zombie dragons on the way out. While we're dealing with them, let's go back to Fluff for another Fluff fact about Final Fantasy I. Fluff?
Many players know this hidden minigame and feature, but Iranian-American Nazir Gabelli is the man responsible for programming in this Easter egg slide puzzle. In the NES version of the game, once you're in the ship, hold the A button and tap B repeatedly until you get this screen. Successfully align the numbers into numerical order, and you earn yourself the grand prize of 100 gil. Nazir Gabelli is an interesting story himself. Born in Iran in 1957, Gabelli migrated to the United States in 1979 to avoid the Iranian Revolution. He studied computer science and began to develop video games, even starting his own company in 1982 before the video game crash of 1983 shuttered its doors. Still, Gabelli's talent was clear as he was responsible for 8 of Apple II's best-selling games. After the video game resurgence led by Nintendo in 1985, Gabelli's friend Doug Carlston, who owned developer Broderbund, suggested he consider getting into developing for Nintendo given the recent success of the NES. Gabelli flew with Carlston to Japan to meet Carlston's contacts at Square. There he met Masafumi Miyamoto, the founder and president of Square, who hired him to work for them on the spot. Gabelli brought his talents for 3-dimensional game design, the 3D World Runner, Rad Racer's 3D system, and eventually joined Sakaguchi's team as the programmer of Final Fantasy.
Thank you very much, Fluffy. Impressive credit list from Nazir. Interesting backstory, too. Not the typical track, Growing up in Iran and eventually making your way to Japan to work for one of the best NES game developers of the 80s and 90s, and just game developers still rocking today, thankfully. Anyways, we land right there. There's a lot of different entrances to the Cardia Caves. The only one that I'm really concerned with, there's a lot of money in the different areas and chests. No especially useful items, so we're going straight to where we need to go for the quest with our tail. This is Bahamut's room. Thank you very much. It's a heck of a walk to get to the bathroom, so we drop the tail off to these friendly dragons, by the way, put away that dragon sword. And just like that, we got our makeovers. Look at that. Professor. The fighter becomes a knight. Blaze, the black belt, becomes a master. Nice nondescript title right there. And then, makes a bit more sense, the white mage and the black mage just get their upgrades to wizard status. Pretty sweet. The kind of wizards who cast spells, not sure if you've heard of them. Well, let's head back out. The marathon to get back to our airship. And our next stop is going to be Gaia. You can fly just east and north to get to this town. Ish. I get lost sometimes. There we go. Touchdown and Blaze.
Alright, Gaia, we have 2 different levels to grab spells for: Cure 4 and Harm 4. Both essential. Harm 4, obviously, for damaging the undead, doing huge damage. Wall will give you magic protection. And then we have Ice 3, pretty straightforward. If you're offensive, you're Black Wizard. And then Stop. Every now and then, it's kind of like Rub. It works every now and then on certain enemies. Very few bosses, but every now and then, it can be worth your time. Grab the Cat Claw for your Black Wizard or your Ninja. And then the armor to get. Gold bracelets, pretty much for everybody. And the Pro Ring, pretty much for everybody. I talked about the Master a bit earlier, but keep that in mind. Everything you need from Gaia.
Thank you very much, Blaze. Yeah, the equipment to get, weapons, magic, everything. It's getting more slight with each subsequent town as the better loot, at least, is found more in the field than for purchase, just as we have more money than we know what to do with. After all the grinding, we're getting to that point. At this point, let's strip Blaze of everything. Just let his natural absorption do the heavy lifting for him. His God-given abilities as a master, just a very nondescript, generic master. Darn if he doesn't put up a whole mess of punches in one turn on any individual enemy. It's a thing of beauty, really. Alright, now that we've sold off all the crap, let's take a look. I'm just curious to see. There's Absorb 33, 33, pretty good. So 22 being that he's on level 22, so if we keep 58 absorbed for the professor. But again, he's a very slow man. He takes a lot of hits. A lot of enemies target him, and yeah, they do the damage to him, so. It's a lot easier when you go to one of those potion shops, which has heal as the first item listed. Just want to keep smashing that button. So yeah, that bottle that we purchased for 50 grand. Might be wondering, what do we do with this thing? There you go. Sold her to a caravan. How much do you sell them for, actually? I'm curious. How much he sold that poor fairy into servitude for? Probably 1,000. And the guy was just doing an extortionate upcharge, but anyway. This is where we want to use that bottle. As long as you're in this town, you can open it up, but fairy appears and then is gone, but it's actually right here. This is where we would find them if we had let them out elsewhere in town. And now, the fairy's going to give us the ability to breathe at the bottom of the bottom of the next dungeon. So we travel onward to Onrac now, which is kind of well, from where we were, it was probably east and a bit south, but this way works too. It's nice. Sabertooth and the conventional tigers hang out together. So in a rarity, the next dungeon is actually accessible via the town, so makes it handy if you want to like go in there to do some grinding and then pop back out and you just have an inn right there waiting for you. Before we go to Onrac, actually, follow this river all the way up to the dead end, and this is going to lead to a waterfall, which we can actually enter. There's going to be an item that we can get at the end of a very, very long kind of set of meandering halls and tunnels and things like that. Another annoying place, but there's some decent loot at the end of the trail in addition to the item giver. See, it just pop right in the waterfall here. It's not the worst maze, but there is a more direct route you can take, so just follow along here. That's what we're taking. Might be my favorite enemy name in Final Fantasy I, the Nightmare. I like that. I like the play on Knight and Mare. Or Nightmare with the mare enemy horse. It's nice. Certainly better than Agama, or the Mud Golem. almost there. We have a couple more nightmares, thinking they're going to be the ones to take down the light warriors. I don't think so, because we run away. We run away from all non-essential battles, which is most of them from here on out. Till we do our final bit of grinding. So it's interesting that character was standing on this spot. This is one of those mandatory battle spots, but you can run away from it. A bit of a twist there. Ribbon is one of the more interesting items in the Final Fantasy universe. I'll talk about in just a second, but grab the cube from this robot. We will need this, yes, a little bit later in the game. Good to grab it now, though. This is just a random encounter. So the defense is actually an upgrade for us right now. Only the Knight and the Ninja and the Red Wizard can use it. And here we have another one of those mandatory encounters we can run away from. But the defense sword rocks a 30 damage and a impressive 35% hit rate. So that's an upgrade from our ice sword, which was 29 and 25 before. So definitely pop that on for a slight damage increase, but mainly the hit percentage. So we're going to be doing more hits per attack for more damage. Just about the 5th best weapon in the game. Certainly for the fighter. The ribbon, though, its absorb rate is only 1, so there's better helmets you can use. It qualifies as a helmet. Puts your evade down 1, but the main thing is it protects you from all special attacks. So, you know, those one-hit attacks that enemies use are no longer an issue when you have a ribbon, and I think there's enough for everyone in the game. There might be 3 of them, actually, so you can equip 3/4 of your party and make them invincible, but right now, we are finally in Onrac. Blaze?
Right, Onrac. The only thing you need to get here is heal 3 if you want it. Not a big deal. I mean, honestly, I just assume, you know, stock up on the potions at this point in the game. You should have 99. Just eat into those in any dungeon. You should be fine for the most part if you've got the level, but there you go. Grab that spell if you got the scratch.
Yeah, not a lot going on at this point in the game, like I said, for in the way of purchasing. Which is just as well. We don't have a whole lot of money right now. But the ribbon, this is a fancy inn, by the way. But the ribbon is especially good against the eye that we fought in the ice cave. So if you want to do some grinding there, slap those on to pretty much everybody, and yeah, just take them down relatively quickly. And it's probably where I'll go for my final bit of grinding, quite honestly. These were all grown up. That's the only way you can be a master or a knight in this world, apparently. You have legs, yeah. You have to go through the whole dragon process. So yeah, we can't afford anything right now. I like when you get to the point where spells cost 5 figures. It kind of looks like, with the level, that it costs 745,000 gold. I had to do a double take. I remember the first time I saw that when I was a kid. I was like, that's insane. They certainly jacked up the prices here. But no, that's level 7 for 45,000. Still extortionate. You should probably tell them we're the Light Warriors or just stab them or something, but I guess that kind of goes against the whole Light Warrior credo. Alright, so we'll talk to this lady and she'll see that we have the Oxy Dale, and they'll let us travel to the Oxyale. I think I added a D. She'll let us enter the Seashrine here. One of the last big maze-like dungeons in this game, so there's a whole lot of chests once again. We're just going to prioritize the ones that we care about at this point in the game. The shortest route. First thing we recommend is hanging right here, going up these stairs. Nothing in this first building here. Not a whole lot of items really worth getting in this area, quite honestly. There's a decent staff for your I guess the only one who can use it is the Black Wizard at this point in the game, but yeah, we're always just having him cast his best spells, so not that big of a deal. If you want to stop off for it, we'll point it out. Since it's right here and there's no mandatory battles that we have to go through, let's pop in and pick up that mage staff. That's just a random encounter as far as I know. A couple wizards to hags, that's fun. Seems like just in the last part, the first part rather, hours ago at this point, where, can we not run from these guys? Might be the magic of the wizards to hags. Just have to throw some powerful spells their way and hope for the best. Maybe some lit? I feel like they'd be weak against lightning attacks, being kind of watery creatures here. Can't wait to see what this does. 310. Very nice. But yeah. Seems so long ago that we fought their regular counterparts in the boat for the first time. All those enemies for 624 experience. Come on now. Here's the mage staff. Did I call it the wizard staff by mistake? We already got the wizard staff. Get those mixed up. That one's just for the black wizard. The wizard staff casts Confuse, I think, which doesn't have the best % chance of actually having an effect. A lot of mermaids you can talk to, but we don't really care about that. This area is a little confusing. There's one item in particular that we want to get. You might be wondering, how do we get to the particular building which has the item that we want? There's a lot of cash around here, and you'll notice there's no enemies, which is a very welcome change. So we clean out a lot of these chests. What we need to do is go to the top left. Just a regular pier at this stage in the game, that's kind of funny. There's a decent shield in this one. There is an important item, though. Yeah, it's the house that's just above this one. And you might be thinking, how do we get to this? Well, much like the world, this area connects. It's round. It goes in circles. So if we go up behind this house here and all the way to the left, we'll pop back out on the other side. Kind of sneaky from the good people at Square. But just like that, got ourselves important item for translating. We'll take to a city, or a grandiose term. There are no cities in this game, but take it to a town after we leave here. And the Opal Gauntlet is a little bit better than the Zeus one. Can't cast Lit anymore, but I'd rather have the Absorption. Which should knock us up to like 60 at this point for our fighter, which is pretty good. I have to say, pretty good. Almost slipped into Larry David right there. For all you Curb fans. Alright, so back out here. We're going to backtrack back to the initial area where we first came in. And while we're backtracking, heading back that way, just follow along as we bring back Fluff for another Fluff fact. Sort of about Final Fantasy I, but this one is very interesting. Fluff, what do you know?
I'm going to go off on a slight but interesting tangent here, which still blows my mind. I talked earlier about Final Fantasy programmer Nazir Gabelli. After completing work on Final Fantasy, he went on to program Final Fantasy II and III before moving on to one of our favorite games of all time, Secret of Mana. Aside from being influential and offering innovative features such as the ring menu system, customizable AI for allies, and cooperative multiplayer elements, Secret of Mana was developed to be a launch title for the Super Nintendo CD-Rom add-on. Most folks don't remember this, but Nintendo and Sony came close to a partnership in the early 90s, which would have significantly altered the video game landscape to this day. In 1988, Nintendo signed a contract with Sony to produce a CD-ROM add-on for their upcoming SNES system. The system would be compatible with both regular SNES cartridges as we know them, as well as the Sony-compatible Super Disc CD format. Unfortunately for Nintendo, Sony would develop and retain control over the format, which meant Nintendo would cede a lot of control in software licensing to Sony. Not to mention Sony was to be the sole benefactor of licensing related to music and movie software. With Nintendo being uncomfortable with the size of the slice of pie Sony was cutting for itself, it went behind Sony's back and began to form a similar deal with Philips, announcing the partnership immediately after Sony announced its SNES-compatible cartridge/CD console at the 1991 Consumer Electronics Show. Things got understandably icy between the two parties following that. The Nintendo-Philips partnership never came to fruition, and Sony and Nintendo ultimately went their separate ways as Sony began development on their own entry into the console wars in 1994's PlayStation.
Yeah, how crazy is that to think about? I did not know that, or if I did, I forgot about that before this class. That, Sony and Nintendo, a partnership, which would have gotten rid of the PlayStation as we know it, essentially. I mean, maybe they would have gone off on their own eventually anyway. It seems like, that's sort of what they were in it for all along. They wanted a big piece of the pie, and they had no issues breaking off that deal with Nintendo and going their own way and developing their own console, and it's obviously worked out very well for them. But yeah, just think about how different the market would be today, potentially. Just a crazy thing to think about. And, CDs on Nintendo that early on when, they committed to cartridges all the way through the early 2000s. So yeah, they were hanging on with those cartridges. Stuck by them despite the greater costs and limitations of them, technologically speaking, but they loaded a lot faster. But everybody else was on CDs at that point. Crazy bit of video game history right there that a lot of people don't remember. But there you go. Love that. Max cure right there. Bringing someone back from brink of death to full health just like that. So we're still fighting our way through the Seashrine here. This stretch is pretty linear. There's a negligible amount of gold in each of these chests. But no mandatory encounters, so I don't know. It's just fun to open a chest every now and then. There are a lot of chests on this floor. It's it's up to you whether you want to check them out. We'll open a few of them. There's a bit of gold down south. There's a gauntlet and some more gold to the west. Where we want to go is in the northwest. I think this is just cache here, but there's no... there is a mandatory encounter, but if you go around and go to the front of the chest like this, yeah, they usually reward you for going slightly out of your way. And that's how you avoid those mandatory encounters. Which I realize might not be the best term, considering we were able to sidestep it right there, but, and of course we got poisoned. Here we have the power gauntlet and some more cash. And there's no way to get the gauntlet without getting to an actually mandatory encounter right here. Doesn't matter if we go right or to the left of it. Just water. Shouldn't be too bad, right? Water? Not sure how Blaze punches water. Let's find out. About to find out. Or I'll just stab it with the defense. 349 damage. Yeah, beat the heck out of that water blaze. Reminds me of that Pete and Pete episode when Pete and Artie would, on the last day of summer, go to the ocean and just beat it up. Punch it with their fists. Well, what else do you punch with? But yeah. Just their way of coping with the end of the summer. A sad time indeed, especially for kids. Of course, we do these classes all year round, so it's doesn't make as big of a difference to me. I have to admit, though, they run the, we're in summer class right now. I've noticed, kind of like Christmas, the back-to-school ads, they seem to run earlier every single year. And it always bums me out. I haven't been enrolled in school myself in many years now. Over 10 years, but it's, you know, it still kind of bums me out. Seeing those commercials. It's just instilled in anyone who was ever a child, which is everyone. Can't hold anymore. Alright, we are maxed out on items right now. We might have to drop something. This is for another ribbon, so this is worth it. So let's drop something crappy like the silver helmet right there. Something we have no use for. Now we have another ribbon. Which is, again, good for if you want to grind on the eye later. Not like that. You know what I mean. Lobster and sea snakes. Let's run from them. I think I've had my fill of the Seashrine. We're just going to head up and to the left here now. And we have one more long floor to get through, but there's no more chests. It's just a bit of a series of corridors to get to the boss of this area and our next fiend and our next restoration of our next crystal, which will get us 3/4 the way there with one more to go. To do the math for you, Just not interested, lobsters. So you just cut through all these strange holding areas. Not sure what they're doing with this. Seems like wasted space. And make sure everyone is topped off with your healing potions. Be ready to fight this next fiend. If you did some grinding, you should be in good shape. Let's find out what level we should be on for this next fiend as we go back to Gary.
Boss beaters. Alright, Kraken. 800 HP. We recommend you're level 22 at this point. They have a weakness to lit, as you'd expect, being kind of a water creature. They use melee attacks and ink. You want to cast lit and fast on your best attackers and just start going to town, smacking them around and taking them down.
Smacking them around and taking them down, I like it. I like that animation of the Kraken as well, actually. Pretty decent damage from Blaze. Really wish it was the White Wizard, which, yeah, that was a good hit from the Kraken, actually. I wish it was the White Wizard, which had the fast spell. You would think that being more of a supportive spell that they would get that. They really just make, and there we go, down they go. They really just make the Black Wizard comparatively just very OP. Certainly the most valuable wizard, MVW. As we head out, we're gonna head back to our airship now and make use of that slab that we got behind the waterfall, actually. So to use the slab, I think we need to go back to Melmond, actually. Melmond, which is straight south, I believe, from here. And while we're there, we can see if we have any spells we need to fill in the gaps for and unload some of our loot. Good feeling to clear out that pant space. We are carrying around a canoe still, after all, and a few houses. Not sure why these guys sleep on the ribbons. You know, they're lowballing us. Maybe they're trying to trick us, you know, get us to thinking that it's just a crappy hair accessory, when in reality it's arguably one of the most important items in the game. So after you sold off your stuff, come back and talk to this gentleman. He will translate the slab for you and teach you a new language. Rosetta Stone of this game, or a Duolingo, if you will. Maybe a bit more of a modern reference there. Now we can head to the town of Lefein, which from here it's take your pick. You want to go southwest or northeast. Either works. Probably a little bit faster. Well, it's hard to tell. You cross over the Temple of Fiends there. Good memories. Back when we were a lowly level 3. Alright, so there's their town. Sometimes I can find a better parking spot. Other times I have to park very far away. This might be the only spot you can park on at right here, so save us all driving around in circles looking for a better spot. Come on, it's just a bunch of zombies. We gotta fight the zombies? Is that a rule? Yeah, bit of a trudge to get to Lefein from here where we parked. Really need some item to offset the random encounters like they had in other games, like the Moogle Charm in Final Fantasy VI/3 for the Super Nintendo. Fantastic item. Absolutely love that. I mean, that's a fantastic game. You can easily make an argument for that being the best game in the series. So we want to talk to one particular Lefeinite. This guy who's down, get out of my way, it's not you. Down and to the left, down here. There we go. Got the chime for Mirage Tower. And while we're here, let's check in with Blaze, see if there's any spells we should grab.
Alright, Lefein. Life level 2 brings back someone with full health. Very important spell. Curiously, you can't do this during battle, which makes it a real head scratcher, but if you survive the battle, you can cast that and bring somebody back without having to worry about casting any follow-up spells. And then, Nuke, the most powerful offensive spell in this game. Grab it for your Black Wizard and go to town.
Thank you very much, Blaze. Eating up most of our money there, but well worth it for the most powerful spell in this game, which we can't even use yet. We're not of a level where we even have one instance of that spell. Might need to do some grinding, quite honestly. Might head back to the ice cave and go toe-to-toe with some of those eyes. Pop on some ribbons and yeah, just be able to withstand his Quad X and his Rub and all those other instant death spells, which are oh so fun, for the eye at least, presumably. But yeah, we're only a couple more destinations in this game. I guess before we do the grinding, we'll at least grab some decent loot from Mirage Tower, which is just on, it's in this desert, so just on the other side of that little mountain ridge from Lefein there. We can use one of our houses before we head in. 1 gold. Fancy that. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video, and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you.